I have 10 hidden tips that will make you better at MLB The Show immediately. And this is by far my most requested video, so I'm going to be going over basically everything, starting from settings, PCI placement, how to avoid slamming your PCI, and everything else in between. If this video helps you out in any way, make sure to let me know by clicking that thumbs up and subscribing to the channel, and also comment down below your favorite part of this video. Let's jump right into it. We are gonna be moving quick, but if you do want a more in-depth video on any one of these tips, just make sure to let me know down in the comment section below. But let's go ahead and get started. And number one, I'm going with the monitor. I've said it before, I'm gonna say it again. If you're playing on a TV and you want to reach your max potential, you're gonna have to switch to a monitor, especially for the higher difficulties. When you start getting a Hall of Fame and Legend, or if you're struggling on All-Star and you're playing on TV, you're late on fastballs, switch to a monitor. It's going to make a huge difference. Number two, I'm going with Control Freaks and the Precision Rings. You can use code YeYo at checkout for 12% off. Yes, but I'm using the CQC and the green Precision Rings, as you can see here. It does get some getting used to. The precision rings, you need to break them in. But once you get used to it and you break those precision rings, you're going to be just fine. You will not be able to play without it. And this will give you a lot more control over that PCI. It will help stop like slamming that PCI or just be kind of like all over the place. Let's move over to the good stuff, all right? Number three, settings. These are the settings that I'm using. Obviously, I'm using buttons. I'm using zone. If you do want to reach your maximum potential, you have to switch to zone. I used to play directional. I've heard some people say like, oh, what about directional? It's not the way to go. It's too inconsistent. With zone, you do have to practice. Then that's what this video is for. But once you get used to it, this is the way to go. You're going to reach your maximum potential, which is what we're trying to accomplish. PCI anchor, obviously, that's where you can set your PCI to start in a specific area of the strike zone. I have it a preset better. I don't use it much. I typically use it more when I'm reading my opponent. I know he's going for a specific pitch and I'm trying to cheat a specific area of the strike zone. I tend to do that. Play coverage indicator. This is obviously the PCI, and these are my settings on that PCI. I'm using the bat. I'm going to tell you why. The reason why I use the bat is because it doesn't change its size, right? So it doesn't matter what difficulty you're playing, what pitcher you're facing, what hitter you're using, the bat PCI will not change its size. So if you're playing a Hall of Fame or Legend and you're using circles or diamonds, then those get really small. And that for me makes it a little bit more challenging. So the reason why I want bat is for that consistency, and it's actually a pretty decent size. It's not too big, it's not too small. It doesn't matter who you're using, and that is very important. We want consistency, and that is what the bat gives me. I have everything else turned off. I do have it as white and 50% opacity, and the reason why I have it because I don't want it to jump at me and get distracted. I get distracted very easy. So I'm trying to keep it kind of like on the background. That is white and 50% off. Obviously, this is none with a fade out. You can use fade out if you want, kind of like see it before the pitch comes in and then it kind of disappears and comes back for the next pitch. I don't recommend it because I like seeing the PCI there, but that's what I have as far as my settings. Again, the bat, the consistency doesn't change. That's what we love. Number four, practice. And yes, you're going to hear just reps, right? Reps is the only thing that will make you better, but it's also practice with the purpose. We are here in practice mode. I'm going to be, let's say I'm struggling with Bernie Williams, which I really am. I cannot get his timing down. His swing is weird. So I'm going to practice with a purpose. That is with Bernie Williams, trying to get better with him. So if you're struggling at All-Star, maybe take some batting practice in Hall of Fame. If you're struggling with a specific hitter, use that hitter here in custom practice. Get that timing down if you really want to get better with that. If you're struggling against inside cutters, then you're gonna remove all the other pitchers and you're gonna go inside cutters, and then every pitch is gonna be an inside cutter. You get to practice that, and obviously your brain and body just makes it a natural habit to hit those cutters inside if that's the pitch you're struggling with. If you're struggling with fastballs up and in, you raise the fastball and you go here. Yes, you know that the pitch is coming, but it's practicing, right? If you want to lay off the cutters, you want to learn how to lay off the cutters inside to lefties, then you go here, you select the inside part of the strike zone and outside. You get to read, take some pitches, but practice with a purpose. That's always going to be a thing because you want to get better. So you know what you have to work on. If you're working on your weaknesses, then they can become your strengths. But this is number five, my glove method. And if you've watched my previous hitting tips video, you know what the glove method is. Basically, I see the PCI, which is my left stick, as if I'm the catcher and I'm catching the ball with that PCI, whether it's the bat or whatever PCI you're using. So right now, we're just tracking it and catching it with the PCI. So I'm the catcher right now. I'm catching it. Boom. Small movements, obviously, if it's down the middle, you don't want to move it too much. Down, left, up. You want to catch it and track it. It doesn't matter where you're starting the PCI. We'll get to that in just a second. Right now, we're just catching it and not even swinging. This also helps you seeing some pitches, get that timing down a little bit, especially if you're practicing in a little bit of a higher difficulty that you're used to. This might help as well. So the way I see it again is left stick is going to be the catcher's glove, and then obviously the right stick or the X, the A, whatever you're using, wherever you're playing, is going to be with the swing timing. You're going to want to do obviously both at the same time. That's where the perfect comes in. But this is one way to kind of like look at it. You're the catcher and the hitter at the same time. Boom, and we're dropped the PCI, but the timing was there, and it's gonna happen. Keep that in mind. You will not hit perfects every time, but it will definitely help. We're following. Let's follow a couple more. We're following the ball. Boom, that was a dot at 97. And now we'll take a little swing or two with Bernie Williams as we're following and starting to get that timing down. The pitch. There we go. That was a good PCI, good timing in the gap. And there we go. We missed it by a little bit, but as you can see, my PCI is really not moving a whole lot. And that is something that we want because that means we're tracking the ball well. There you go. Perfect into the gap. All right. Now we talked about the glove method, which is following the ball with the PCI or catching it with our PCI. But where should you start your PCI? And that is tip number 6. The PCI placement obviously is going to be where you feel more comfortable with. You have to feel comfortable because if not, it will not really work. So I'm going to go ahead and talk about the PCI placement. I started low, and I'm going to tell you the reasons why I started low is because every pitch that every pitcher has is going to break down, except the four-seam fastball, right? So we know that basically at least 60, 70% of the pitches are going to end up either middle of the zone or down. I'm trying to cheat that, but I'm ready. Obviously, you got to be ready to raise your PCI if there's like a fastball up in the zone that is coming in. I just swung at that while I'm talking. I don't know why. But anyways, you want to be ready for everything. But for me, it's easier to work down and up on the PCI, and it avoids slamming that PCI. If I start the PCI up in the zone and then a pitch is down, for me, it's not as natural of a movement, and it's easier to kind of lower my PCI or jam it, especially on the lower part of the zone, which I know there's going to be a lot. A lot of people like to throw sliders, cutters low in the zone, and the fork ball splitters. All of that is typically going to be middle and down. So I like working down. I'm going to be able to get under the ball and hit some bombs instead of just slamming my PCI and get under it like I did in my first time with just a lazy fly ball. So again, you got to find your way. There's different ways. You can use your anchor as well. Like if I'm sitting inside, I'm going to move my anchor inside. It's going to be there, but that means you're going to have a little bit more ways to go to move the PCI outside. So keep that in mind. But again, it's something that you have to find what works for you. And now you know why I start my PCI a little bit lower. I'm kind of eliminating one part of the strike zone while also keeping in the back of my mind that I have to go up, which is an easier and natural movement. So at number 7, we're going with patience, and patience is a key. You have to have some sort of approach, but also that patience is going to help with a lot of different things. You're going to get to see a lot more pitches. It's okay to take a strike or two, especially in the first few innings, because you're also going to be reading some tendencies, which is going to be my next point. You're reading not only your opponent, but you're also seeing all of the pitcher's pitches. You're working the count. If you work the count, especially in Battle Royale, it's easier for those pitches to get into the yellow energy. Once they get to the yellow energy, your PCI gets bigger. It's easier to hit the ball. So you got to have some patience. It's okay to take a strike or two. Maybe you can sit on your specific pitch on a hitter's pitch. That's the one you want to hit, right? So I'm sitting fastball inside, let's say, and it's the first pitch of the at bat. If I don't get that fastball inside, I don't have to swing at it. It's okay. It might even be a ball. So just practice patience. Maybe take the first few innings of rank, taking some more pitches. Try to work that count. It's also going to be a little bit frustrating for your opponent if they have a patient hitter, right? Like a lot of the times when you're pitching and you see these guys that are not swinging, you're like, I don't know what to throw. That's exactly what you want your opponent to feel. I don't know what to throw. That's when mistake pitches come, and that's when the home runs follow. And I just mentioned a little bit, number 8 is going to be tendencies. And tendencies is what you want to be picking up on your opponent. See more pitches, you're going to be able to pick up those tendencies. So if I'm playing and I'm watching Liz Smith, and I know that every time there's a lefty at the plate, he starts with a slider inside. Then I know I'm taking notes. I'm taking mental notes that the next time maybe a lefty batter comes in and he throws another slider, I'm going to be ready because he already started a couple lefty hitters with the slider inside. And that's just an example, right? Keep in mind, it could be, oh, every time there's a righty and a man on first, he starts with the slider low and away to get me to roll over. Keep that in mind as well. So practicing that patience and picking up the pattern is what's going to make you a better hitter, because you're going to be kind of knowing what's coming at some point, right? You're going to see like, okay, I know what to expect. You're going to be able to drill that pitch. If you don't get it, then you can take it. It's okay. You're still working your counts. You're still being patient. Okay. So that's going to be key. Patience and also picking up tendencies. Both kind of go together. And then number 9 is going to have to be an approach. And it's similar to the other two, but you got to have an approach. I kind of touch on it a little bit. You know that if you're sitting on a specific pitch, you don't have to, if you don't get it, you don't have to swing at it, but have an approach, have a plan at the plate. You know that you want to be able to just hit the ball, right? So don't swing at your weak, like if you're struggling with cutters inside, you don't have to swing at every single cutter inside. If you're struggling with fastballs in, you don't have to swing at fastballs in. Obviously, if you get to 2 strikes, you're going to have to protect the plate, but at the same time, you're waiting for your pitch. So if I'm trying to swing, I'm not trying to swing at the balls that are in the black, right? I'm trying to swing at the balls that are more like towards the middle, where I don't have to move my PCI as much. As you can see there, that is a strike. I didn't have to move my PCI much, and that's why I was able to put in a good swing on it, right? So we want to swing at the pitches that end up there. It goes with the patient. It goes with the approach. It kind of all goes together. That slider was a nasty pitch. I'm going to take it. I'll live to, I get to live another day and get the next pitch where I can actually hit and destroy it. We're looking for pitches that we can do damage with, right? We're looking for our pitches, not the pitcher's pitches. And at number 10, timing. How to improve timing. I think this is kind of like a big one that a lot of people kind of struggle with. How can I hit on Hall of Fame? How can I hit on Legend? One thing that I do is always, I think fastball, like I mentioned earlier, I do start my PCI a little bit low, and then I kind of work my way up, right? But I'm working my way up thinking about fastballs. You know that a lot of the times up in the zone, they're going to be throwing fastballs. And the reason why they're going to be throwing fastballs is because the off speed, when you throw it up in the zone, the par makes it or goes bigger, right? Because the par is bigger, it means it's more prone to be a mistake pitch. If it's a mistake pitch, it's going to be a hanger, you're going to destroy it. So that's why you see a lot of people throw the off speeds low in the zone. The par gets a little bit smaller than that when it's high in the zone. Now, I'm starting my PCI low, but I'm thinking fastball. So I know I'm ready to go up, but I'm also ready to turn on it. So even if it's a fastball low, I'm ready to turn on it, right? So let's go to practice type batting. I'm going to pick fastballs, and I'm going to go either up or down, right? I know it's going to be either up or down. I'm starting my PCI low. If I get the fastball low, I already have my PCI there. But if not, I'm ready to go up and hit that fastball up, where a lot of online players are trying to throw it there, right? So again, one more time, PCI is going to be kind of low. I don't go all the way down because then I can miss kind of like the mistake pitches a little bit. And I was talking about that, and I missed a mistake pitch-ish. So I've started a little bit low, but also thinking to go up if I need to. There, I slam a PCI a little bit. I got under it, not too bad. Just late weekly hit. But that's one thing that we try to do with the timing. I'm ready. Obviously, if the pitch is coming inside, you have to be earlier. If you're almost late side of good on inside pitches, then you're probably not going to get the highest exit velocity that you can get. So keep that in mind. If the pitch is there outside, you want to go with the pitch, right? So you're going to have a little bit more time. If the pitch is inside, you want to be early so you can actually pull it just like that. Early side of good, that ball was hit very well. So inside pitches, even faster timing. Think fastball all the time so you don't get beat by it. Because if you're late on those fastballs, then you're screwed. Because if you're late on fastballs, that means you're probably going to be early on off speed. If you're in between, that's the worst place to be at, right? So I'm thinking fastball, low PCI. I'm ready to raise my PCI if I see a fastball up. So keep that in mind. Think fastball. Even if it's thrown like 1 or 2. I don't like to sit on off speed, because if I don't get it and I have 2 strikes and a fastball comes, I'm not going to be able to hit it. I'm going to be late. I'm going to strike out. Like that one. I wasn't ready for it, right? So that's exactly what's going to happen if you're just late. You want to be early. Again, read the pitch. You're going to just adjust to the off speed. And how to adjust, you're going to try to pick up the ball as soon as you see it, right? So we know that his release point is basically right here where the bad PCI is going to be at, right? So this is where I'm trying to look at, because I know this is where the ball is going to be. I'm trying to see the ball as fast as I can, right? From the fastest thing, like if I see the ball from here, I'm going to be able to pick up if it's going to be a cutter, slider, forkball, whatever it is. Obviously right now I have it set to fastballs only, but I'm trying to look at that release point for that pitcher. Some release points for some pitchers might be down here because they throw 3/4. Obviously with the lefty, it's going to be on this side. But you got to pick up that release point. And that goes to my previous point as far as like tendencies and patience. Part of the patience is also picking up that release point. Okay, I see the release point. I see it. The more you see it, the easier it's going to be. That's why when you're facing specific pitchers and they're going to be tough at the beginning of the year, but then towards the end of the year becomes easier. Yes, because we've seen that pitcher over and over again. That goes with reps. That goes with kind of getting that release point down, right? So that's exactly what we're doing with every single thing. But think fastball and adjust the off-speed. But that will do it for me. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope it helps some of you guys out in any way, shape, or form. And if it did, let me know by clicking that thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. And if you want me to focus on one specific thing, let me know down in the comment section below. And I'll bring you another hidden tips, maybe hidden tips 2.0. But I needed to make a new video on hidden tips. I'm glad I did. And I hope you guys are too. Again, thank you so much for watching, but this is YeYo, and I'll check it on the next one. I'm out.